You're watching GGRecon Gaming, and this is GOATED Games Red Dead Redemption 2. It's very rare that a sequel comes along and outshines the original. You can probably count on one hand the amount of titles that have done this, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prime example of a game that just gets what everybody wanted. You're a cowboy, you feel like a cowboy, and you live the life of a cowboy in a more in-depth way than has ever been explored before. But what is it about the rags to riches story that makes it so appealing to such a broad audience? Why are so many people constantly flocking back to the deserts to live out their Wild West fantasy? Let's find out. Fantasy is a big part of this game, believe it or not. Yet it never gets included in that genre, as it is more commonly associated with fairies and magical adventures, but Red Dead is absolutely a fantasy adventure. Nobody that is alive today will have experienced this world that you live in whilst playing the game. The days of the cowboy and Wild West are long gone. They are just lived out through cinema and spaghetti western classics now. But this experience is probably the most immersive you can get when it comes to wanting to live out that life. Until we get Red Dead VR, that is. It helps that the game is still one of the most gorgeous creations to ever grace our screens. Nearly 4 years after it was released, it still holds up with some of the games of the next generation of consoles. Combine this with one of the most engrossing and in-depth storylines ever seen in gaming, and you have a recipe for success. The story itself is forever branching, with the player carving their own path and discovering new and exciting things through their own free will. The freedom to explore is one of the main reasons why so many people end up spending hundreds of hours on the game. It's what Rockstar does better than near enough any other company out there, and they really have perfected it with this one. Grand Theft Auto 5 does have a free will ability, but I feel like it sometimes can feel rather stunted by the modernity of the game. Having to navigate between constant roads and buildings does take away from the element that you can simply explore wherever you want to, whenever you want to. It's only really when you reach the desert later in the game that you truly have the freedom to drive wherever you want. In Red Dead 2, it's rare that you're actually in any sort of city. You don't even unlock the first full city until you've completed at least a third of the game. Towns and cities feel so much more accessible as well. You can walk into most shops and saloons when you enter a town, and the vast majority of NPCs will happily talk your ear off. Side quests feel so much more complete as well. There are a lot more in-depth than simple go here and fetch this quests that are so commonplace in the larger open world games. The way you play is dictated by you and you alone. Your actions dictate how you are viewed by the public, and this goes a long way to increasing the immersion the game has. So often in large-scale games, your actions throughout the game are made to feel worthless in the grand scheme of the gaming world you occupy. Go on a killing spree? Just walk it off and everybody will forget. Slap somebody around and robbing them? It's all good, don't you worry. But Red Dead made you feel responsible for the choices that you made. If your devious actions were witnessed, your reputation would increase in a negative way. You would become more synonymous with the bad actions, and the whole town would know of this. Likewise, perform good actions like helping those in trouble, or by breaking up fights, and you'll be rewarded with positive karma. More people will begin to trust you, and you'll find yourself being recognised in a positive light, rather than being feared. Simple things like this are why people love this game. It makes you feel like you're actually in full control of your player, using such simple methods. Holding yourself accountable for your actions really makes you question if you want to do certain things as well. It would be so simple to just shoot somebody who was bothering you, but is it worth getting the negative karma and also having to pay off a fine? Money is scarce for quite a large proportion of the game, so getting fines and bounties placed on you constantly will instantly drain your precious funds. Finding funds is another way this game stands out and is so loved by so many people. The amount of side hustles you can do is astronomical. Activities such as hunting, fishing and card games can all get you money. There are secret shrines and locations to be found which can hold precious items. You can loot houses if you're sneaky enough. You have the chance to become a debt collector, as well as collecting priceless cars to sell on for a fine profit. You can help out a photographer by assisting them getting that perfect wildlife shot. There are legendary animals to find, pelts to be collected, and outfits to be sewn. All in all, you have enough activities here to last you a lifetime, as well as make you some serious dollar. Build a fire, cook some rabbit, drink some Kentucky bourbon, and pass out under the stars. That's the Red Dead 2 experience, and it just cannot get any better than that. If you've ever dreamed of being a cowboy, or simply want a game that is as immersive as possible, then Red Dead Redemption 2 is the title you need. It's a game that you simply do not get bored of playing. It is so unpredictable, and every twist and calculated turn that the game throws at you feels both challenging and fair at the same time. It's a level of immersion which, in my eyes, has never been matched. I promise it'll be some of the best money you've ever spent.